And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing? It is Wednesday, 7th of November 2012. Now, you're probably all wondering, why is he doing an Arrow review on Wednesday and it's not even been aired? Well, actually, it was aired last night in Canada. So if you live in Canada, lucky you. So for those of you in the US, don't worry, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but all I'm going to say is, damaged, brilliant episode. This is the episode where we meet Deathstroke for the first time, and we also see a bit more of John Barrowman's Well-Dressed Man. We learn a few secrets regarding Oliver's time on the island, and there's also, Walter looks further into the discovery that he made last week regarding the Queen's Gambit. What else? Pretty much just everything about this episode. I just want to quickly touch on about Deathstroke. Now, if you've seen the trailers and the promos, you'll see just how brilliantly, well done the character was. He's pretty much been taken out of the comic books, not like what we saw in Smallville, because that was not Deathstroke at all. But again, it was fantastic, and it doesn't speak, it doesn't really say anything, but it is, well, as I say, it's good. Okay, we get a bit more sort of insight regarding Yao Fei, who is looking after Oliver looking after Oliver on the island. So we get a bit more sort of little tidbits about him. Diggle, John Diggle, we love John Diggle. Well, I'm not going to say too much about him, but let's just say he does play a pretty important part in this episode. The other thing, obviously, we remember last week's episode, Oliver was arrested at the end, and this pretty much carries on from there. And Quentin Lance has pretty much just got you just see the ferocity of Quentin wanting to not just arrest him, but get him behind bars as quickly as possible. But then Oliver does something that Quentin did not expect. The last possible thing that Oliver could do, it pretty much hits Quentin where it hurts, basically. Dinah, Tommy's briefly in this episode. He's doesn't too much involvement, but he's just there briefly. But yeah, Dinah Lance, she has a few home truths brought to her as well. But like I say, overall it was just a top-notch episode. It really was brilliant. As I say, without getting too far into it, there's a couple of DC Comics references in particular. One that relates to Mike Grell's Longbow Hunters, which I read just this past week, and it is brilliant. And when you read it, you will understand why Oliver Queen is going through the list of names that are in his father's journal. So that's where obviously Kreisberg, Berlanti and Guggenheim have pulled that one from, in terms of their inspiration for the series. So yeah, like I say, I mean, wow, like it really was just fantastic. Brilliant episode, and Oliver and Diggle up to their old awkward married relationship, as I would like to call it. But again, I'm really intrigued as to who John Barrowman actually is, as in who is the Well-Dressed Man. He seems to have some sort of high level of power, but then him and Moira sort of have a bit of a clash in this episode, and there's a point of where I look at it and I say to myself, what is he really up to? Who is he really? And Moira sort of takes a bit of a stab at him in some sense, and that kind of, it almost looks as if you've seen a power shift. So again, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays between those two. So the little conflict between the pair of them is all I can say. Bit of a conflict there. But again, as I say, not spoiling anything. So if you've not seen it yet, which of course the majority of you in the US won't have seen it yet, but for those of you who've seen it in Canada, please do not post any spoilers. And anybody else who has been able to see this episode, again, no spoilers, because if you do post them, I'm going to delete them. So it's as simple as that. Let me just quickly also say that if you look below, I've put in a link for the latest promo which showcases future episodes, and also tonight's episode is featured in there quite heavily. Nothing too spoilery anyway, but we also get glimpses rather, of Royal Flush Gang and Huntress in particular. Yeah, looking forward to that. So yeah, brilliant episode as always, absolutely smashing, absolutely fantastic. I can only say that as time goes on, I think we're going to get a really good first season for Arrow. I mean, we're only 5 episodes in, and already 5 episodes, and yet it feels like I've been watching it for a whole year already. That's how it feels. It's that brilliant. It's just as if a whole year has gone by just in those 5 episodes alone. So yeah, like I said, brilliant. So even the promo that I've linked at the bottom, you'll have a look at, features more of China White as well. I will say that in tonight's episode of Damaged, it's not the last that we see of Deathstroke. So don't forget, obviously, Deadshot in episode 3. Many people probably thought that that was the end of him. No, I can guarantee you that is not the end of Deadshot. We're going to see more Deadshot. I hope we will see more of him anyway. But again, yes, I was really watching this episode throughout the entire episode. All I wanted was just for them to focus on the flashbacks, especially with Deathstroke. That's all I wanted them to do. Just focus on the back flashes. Never mind on the flashbacks even. Never mind what's happening in the present. I want to see what went on the island with Deathstroke in particular. So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to cut it there. As I say, please let me know what you thought of it if you've seen it. If you have seen it, send me a message. If you're going to post information down, try not to make it too spoilery. But again, if you haven't seen it, well, just watch it. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you very much. Good night.